Greetings. Today I'm going to discuss organic hacking. This pertains to the genetic code, predisposition, inherent values being manipulated and distributed. It goes back into the coma situation, the B and John Malkovich, where you're selling communal timeshares. And I'm going to go back to trace back to the very beginnings that started down this path to where I was buried so deep in order to set up these latter schematics. So it goes back to basically, I'm going to start back when I got severe head trauma. This was right after, this was recently, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, maybe a little bit older. And it was after my parents got a divorce. This was after I uninvited the TL, which seems to be a big part about this. And the uninvited the TL seems, and then what it seems is I paid kind of like this goes back to the country club scenario, the golf, play it as it lies, all these curses that were afflicted upon me, this sort of jargon, this cliche, devil's advocate cliche precedences that were going on. So I lived near my cousin. He was actually got me listening to Kiss, and basically we used to go run around the apartment complex, and there were these girls, and they used to chase us around, and it was real playful and stuff. We used to play in the woods. There was a place called Blueberry Hill where we used to go look for big old water moccasins and things like that. So one day we were standing around with the girls and my cousin and a few other people, and this kid just out of nowhere, and I was completely blindsided, just nailed me with his bike, hit me right on the side, and I fell over and hit my head. Smack on the cement. And I got up, ran into the house, and it could have killed me, literally, or it could have knocked me unconscious. It was a lump the size of a peach, and the girl came and knocked on the door to see if I was all right. And so basically, I laid around and got better. But in my estimation, the precedences that were set, and this goes to this interpretation. So what happened was you've got, because of this, it probably created an ADHD has been known to be created by head trauma. So therefore, the precedence of the girl that were chasing me created the lack of focus. So anytime a girl is after me, it's skewed, Then the interpretation in the grid. You have to look at it like the Tron grid or, the Matrix or something like this, because the symptoms are hacked into me, and they are like that's how the grid works, especially on somebody of value or a key value, because I provide what they're trying to do is trying to extract certain energies from me and redistribute them. And so they look for any angle, they rig everything. And just because an oil rig's called rig doesn't mean when you stack a deck or you bust open an ATM machine and loot it, or you steal a counterfeit printing press and print a ton of fake credit cards or print a ton of fake cash. That's not necessarily verified because of the rig nature of an oil rig. It's just it's one of those cliche misnomer things that happen. So I'm going to go over all the theoretical interpretations of the inflictions placed upon me, and this is all based upon our captivity state of exposure. Like I said, we could have gotten out of the woods decades ago, but no, we're forced because people are addicted to our blood. Basically, they are addicted to our wallet and our blood, so we're forced to be exposed. So we are stuck that's why we're stuck in the Tron game grid, metaphorically speaking, or the Matrix, so others can use the energy that is derived from us. I think what's happened is they're trying to transfer enough energy out. That's why they're producing enough hostages so they can finally just kill me like Dr. Evil. You know, there's a reason Dr. Evil didn't kill Austin Powers. It's because of the energy, the symbiotic energies. But now I think they're getting me. They're trying to transport enough energy out of me so they can finally just kill me. You know, that sort of mentality. So it goes, and not only were they satisfied with, so if any girl ever chased me, that set the precedence at some cataclysm, I'd get blindsided and knocked unconscious. And then, then it'd be divvy up the skirts, that sort of mentality. So they wanted to amplify it. They wanted a Marshall amp. They wanted a marathon music amp to make it work. They wanted the headbangers loud. That was the mob interpretation, of course. And that's where we got into the JV hack, which lowered me down. Then we got into the really bad hack, the Omega hack. And the Omega hack, and this goes back to the whole premise of the Dungeons and Dragons. If you look at Dungeons and Dragons is very much like an insurance actuary table. There's an insurance actuary table, which is basically odds, percentages, like a casino, you know? So what they did was they rigged the casino to pay off a ton. You know, they wanted they wanted rigged slots, they wanted easy money, house accounts, VIP accounts. And back in the day, the only place you could gamble was Vegas or Atlantic City. But when all these rigged games started happening, it set the precedent. So now you look everywhere now, when they started rigging things, now Baton Rouge has 3 casinos. There are 50 casinos within. That just shows that, well, they basically sold their soul to the game grid. They're worshiping the game grid. That's what it's worshiping these hacked codes because they found them a rube, they got them an easy mark because they done stabbed me and speared me so many times and I'm gushing, free loot everywhere. So it sets it's all about precedences being set. And so, I mean, there's all sorts of misinterpretations, and that's where it goes back into keeping this all shadow game, and that's also where it goes into keeping me exposed to the system. So it's like heat-seeking missiles, though. Anytime a girl would come near to me, well, it's the Prince Charming free ATM cash machine, So instead, the idols, that girls would the rock star could just deluge them with no consequences. But if a girl even tried to approach me, but that was payback for the country club, the TL membership country club reverence there. And so and not only that, you got the Caddyshack jumping the fence, and you got the spread eagle lube greens, and then you add in, they had to make it harder, the handicap even worse, so you get into the Caddyshack 2 precedents, where they put a goalie. If I try to putt, then it's basketball-opoly rules. It's manipulate the rules any way possible and put a goalie in front of the hole. Then tackle me while I'm trying to putt. That sort of mentality. So it's but the whole name of the game is perpetuation of the game. And I know this sounds real jovial. Hey, it's a funny joke at my behest, but if the funny joke is the bill that's been rung up on these VIP, Oceans 11, 12, 13 house accounts, the VIP house accounts that are being looted. And what they're doing is they're printing a ton of keys. So the Omega actuarial symptoms. So it's like, because of the alpha has been derived down to the omega level, and it's exponential symptoms, and this is all interpretation. So it's like, what the perceptions are. I used to drink a lot of Coca-Cola. Terrible investment if you're living here and got nothing from it. My piggy bank, there was a big heist of my piggy bank I drilled into. No reward for me. What did I get? Actuarial table diabetes, because the percentages say, and what's the worst omega case scenario? I got diabetes and lost my foot. That's the omega interpretation. So anything I do, so the interpretation was I skied a lot. So I broke my back, so now, that I'm a quadriplegic, that's the interpretation. So the symptoms are basically put upon me. So basically I'm really, really sick because of this poison. I mean, basically I was poisoned for the most part. Then again, their reverence to the chemical industry and the pollution, so they're being reverent on that side. But it was, revenge is the name of the game. Revenge was the worst case scenario because they're still reverent to, they've still got the chemical. They're still relying upon the chemistry and the chemical industry. So I've got the worst omega focus now. The exponential. So what does that put me? No secretaries, omega focus, no nothing, no resources, no strategic team, no think tank, no nothing. Omega resources. It's always what's the omega interpretation in the actuarial tables. It's really bizarre, but I'm trying to understand the parameters of existence. One of the main theories that I have concerning this deals with what is called the Big Bang Theory, utilizing the hacks of this network. And I'm not sure, and I've tried testing and figuring out exactly the reach of the network, and it's very complicated, but basically using the hacks against me as trigger mechanisms to attack other realms. And there's got to be motive for this. And then again, also, the exposure is like leaving a gun or a big bomb on the playground for anybody to come up and hack into. I mean, they had a knocked over missile at Crested Butte where people used to snowboard across it. That's that same sort of thing. But the problem is that there's obviously causality effects going on. So it seems to me that through pressures applied through to me, that it affects other global resources. So what's going on, it's like, it's offering opportunities, therefore, to seize control. This could be part of the Crimea River, Crimean War, Treaty of Paris, distribution of the Ottoman, could be seen as Opio assets, through the trigger mechanisms, creating different sorts of cataclysm globally, destabilizing foundations, and therefore freeing up assets to be reconstituted and rebranded. And this probably goes way back. I mean, obviously, with technology and science, it's an important time in history. That's why I'm stuck on the JV bench warmers, because I'm providing, but I'm not able to protect. I provide a lot of access and keys and things like that. It's the astronomy Tron in the wilderness, basically, exposed to the woods. The only thing I can sort of see what's going on through astronomy because I have the capability to decipher. But then again, what actually, I'm vulnerable to what's going on. And then the programming of disorientation definitely seems to be what's going on. So the delay mechanisms, and it goes back to the mental torture until the physical pain gravy starts. That's sort of mentality. The hacking down of me, spewing out cash in the form of Prince Charming rolls of cash, that sort of mentality. And it goes back to probably the New Orleans Jazz moved to Utah, so everybody got nervous. And I honestly think it has to do with polygamy scare, and so they had to play really difficult, go balls to the wall with the machine system. That's why the A and M got reversed to the M and the A. So you got the machine taking over in order to avoid. And when you look at it, that's why we're worshiping materialism. That's why we're worshiping sums of cash rather than blood. But most of the world has a foundation of blood built upon blood, and therefore it's a different. But the problem is they're using the Bible as a weapon, and I just happen to be a I don't exactly know to what degree, but that's all a theory as to the Big Bang, why, and what's going on in the whole scenario.